Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Raptor X here with Good Clean Gaming RX, and today we are back once again, and we're going to be covering the Stars My Destination, the Star Citizen 1.0 roadmap from the 2954 Citizen Con that happened over the last weekend. This is a pretty big one, so we're going to go ahead and dive into this. For 1.0, they are going to be focusing on a few different things. So for 1.0, we're looking at improved performance, a polished experience, the gameplay loops are going to be all finished, and most of all, no more resets, so no more of these wipes whenever we have a new patch. It also means that they're not done with the game. They're still going to continue developing things, adding different locations, game loops, all that kind of stuff. But it's going to be no more Tier 0. Everything's going to be polished and ready to go as soon as it's put into the game. No more of this, alpha Tier 0 implementation. They're also adding a main story, so this is going to wrap around all of the different S5 systems on release, and is going to be a narrative experience. So you're going to be interacting with various different factions and guilds and that kind of stuff. It's going to be NPC driven, so they're using a lot of the experience that they've gotten from producing Squadron 42, and they're bringing that over to the persistent universe to kind of flesh out the NPCs and make sure that they can interact with you and provide a good experience. This can also be done at your pace. It's not something that you kind of have to get locked into if you want to pause and go do something else, do some mining, whatever. That can be done totally at your own pace. They did say that the reward for finishing the main story is going to be citizenship, which comes with various different perks, including being able to purchase land anywhere in the UEE. And for the first release 1.0, we're looking at 5 systems. So you've got the Stanton system that we have now, Pyro that they've been working on for the past 4 years or so now, and are right on the cusp of releasing with 4.0. Then we have the Nyx system, and that's got 3 planets in it, as well as Delamar, which is kind of like a broken up asteroid, and Levski, the landing system. We used to have that in 3.0 onward until they took it out, and that was when they brought in Hurston, I believe. Then they're going to be going to Castra, which is a little 2-star system, or 2-planet system, sorry. This one is run by the UEE as well, and so this is a lawful system. You have Castra 1 and Cascom. And on Cascom, you've got the landing zone of Sherman, which apparently is an old military base from the Messer area, and is very, very heavily fortified, lots of really neat defense cannons and all that kind of stuff, but it's kind of been civilianized a little bit after the end of the Cold War, or that little standoff with the Xi'an. Then after that, we are getting Terra, and that's kind of the head of the UEE at this point. There's kind of a little bit of a conflict going on between Terra and Earth. Not a war exactly, but they're kind of fighting over who gets to be the leader of the UEE. So those are the 5 that we are going to be getting. And all of this is going to take place. Then you're going to have these various different factions that are going to be running things inside this main storyline. So you've got the United Resource Workers. They take care of all of the mining, the refining, the fuel gathering, engineering stuff. All that kind of stuff is going to be done and handled through the United Resource Workers Guild. Then you have the Interstellar Transport Guild. That's going to take care of all of your transport stuff, recovering ships, your courier missions, hauling, transporting stuff, passengers, all that kind of thing. Then you have the Imperial Sports Federation, where all of the racers and the marksmanship competitions, and they're adding parkour athletics in, so that you'll be able to do guild relationship stuff with them. Then you have the Academy of Science. They're going to handle all of the exploration, the hunting missions, farming, some crafting, research stuff, search and rescue. The Academy of Science is going to handle all of that. Now for the combat players, you've got something a little bit different. You've got the Council and the Mercenary Guild. They are set directly opposite each other. The Council is unlawful, the Mercenary Guild is the lawful org. and you declare allegiance for one, and you immediately become an enemy of the other. So they're building in some meaningful choices. The Mercenary Guild, of course, is going to take care of both combat pilots and FPS stuff. You're going to have your bounty hunters. You're going to have your knocking out the bad guys sort of thing, clearing and holding bunkers, all that sort of stuff. Then for the council, you're going to have your violent criminals, you're doing illegal crafting, you're going to have ship capture and shipjacking, you've got smuggling, organized crime, you've got some criminal racing, that kind of stuff. Those are all going to be handled by the council. Another big announcement that they had was to do with taxes and insurance. So they've had Death of a Spaceman is going to be something that they're implementing for 1.0. Which means that when you die, there are going to be some penalties. It won't be every time that you die because you'll be able to regenerate, but at some point you're just not going to be able to regenerate anymore. Your body's taken too much damage, and so you die, and all of your assets get passed on to your next of kin, who will be able to, essentially pick up where your character left off. But there's going to be some inheritance tax. And you're going to have a rep loss with, whatever factions and guilds your first character had been building up reputation with. Taxes and insurance kind of factor into the economy to try and keep inflation from getting too out of hand. So you're going to have taxes for inheritance. You're also going to have taxes and fees for planetary taxes, planetary shield tech, for when you're inside of UEE systems. And then you're also going to have insurance that's going to factor into that. So you have medical insurance for when you're regenerating, and then you have ship insurance for when you've lost your ship. So ship insurance is going to come in essentially two different parts to claiming your ship. So you have insurance, which covers the value of your ship, and then you have warranty, which covers the actual chassis of your ship. That's been then broken down into a couple different tiers. Insurance is, a timed thing, so you have to renew that in the verse, unless, of course, you have LTI, in which case you never have to worry about insurance. Now, warranty applies to being able to get your ship back. If you just have standard insurance, it's only going to give you money to pay out essentially the value of your ship at that time. That's going to, of course, be marked down if your ship is damaged or if it's got a lot of wear and tear on it, hasn't been kept up. If you have a warranty, you're going to be getting back not only, the value of it, but you're going to be getting that value back in the form of a new ship. Warranty comes in 3 different types. You've got Tier 1 warranty, which just covers the ship and stock components. Tier 2 warranty, which covers the ship and any customized components that you've added or changed. And then you have Tier 3 warranty, which covers your ship, the components that you've changed, and any decorations that you've made to the ship. If you have pledged for a ship, on the pledge store, you have a permanent lifetime warranty on that. So you're always going to be getting your ship back when you've purchased it on the store. There's no losing your ship permanently. If you don't have LTI insurance on that, and your insurance has expired, you will have to pay some extra in-game. This has been confirmed by Disco Lando on Spectrum. There's been a little bit of a hoo-ha about that because there was some confusion and some clarification that had to happen on that. But if you lose your purchased ships that you've paid real money for, you can't physically, ever lose them. You will be able to get those back. There will be some cost in game, a premium fee that you'll have to pay, but you'll never lose those ships that you've paid real money for. They're going to be increasing the insurance claim timers to try and encourage players to go out and reclaim their ship instead of just claiming for a new one. They said 90% of ships currently that are claimed have not been damaged or destroyed. And a lot of that's just due to bugs and various different issues and people wanting to transport their ships easily and quickly, that sort of thing. But they want to get away from that. So to facilitate that, they're going to have a shuttle ship to get back to your ship now. You'll be able to claim that at no cost and essentially immediately. fly that back to your ship and to recover that, and then the shuttle ship flies automatically back to the space station. And that's to, as I said, encourage people to, recover their ship instead of just write it off and claim it. Your small starter ships are going to be readily available. Those should be a very, very short claim timer and be able to have them, essentially like we get them now in the verse. Your large or capital ships are going to take quite a bit longer. They want to kind of balance this around crafting times because we will be able to craft ships in the future in 1.0. So, Star Citizen a lot of times up until now has been a lot of random parts bolted together, and that hasn't had a nice continuous flow. For 1.0, they are changing all of that so that you have continuous and integrated game loops. For instance, you might want to get yourself a F7A. They've mentioned being able to get one of those in-game. To do that, you'd need to get some money, and you'd need to get the blueprint for that. You'd need to get some various different materials and all that kind of thing. You'll need a base to craft that in. So, for instance, you might take your prospector that you've purchased on the pledge store. You go out and do some mining, and you get reputation with your mining guild. Then you go and you purchase yourself some land, and you build yourself a base on that. Then you want to go ahead and you want to get your F7A. So you go, all right, well, I'm going to save up a little bit more money with some mining. Then I'm going to purchase myself a little starter combat ship and start gaining some reputation with the mercenary guild. Once you get through the mercenary guild chain, you can unlock that F7A blueprint, and then you take that back to your base, and you have to take your prospector out and do some more mining, and now you can put your resources into your F7A and craft that, and then you take that out and do some more, activities in the verse. So everything is a circular, and nothing is just these bolted together parts anymore. Everything has a purpose, and everything kind of leads into something else. So that kind of covers the body of Star Citizen just playing. But what about the end game? So for the end game, they have added several different things. You've got higher difficulty missions. You then also have group missions and server-wide events. We have a lot of those right now. Stuff like Jump Town, Save Stanton, the various different missions that we've had, Siege of Orison, stuff like that. Those are going to remain, but we've already experienced those. They're also going to have instance content, and they're not quite clear on how this is going to work, but they're going to have fleet battles. You're going to be able to get military blueprints, and you're going to be able to, craft large ships and that kind of stuff. And these missions are going to require more than just, bringing a couple people. You're going to need an armada for this sort of thing. You're going to need supply ships. You're going to need battleships. You're going to need fighters. You're going to need a large org. And dedicated players to take on these sorts of things. And then on top of that, you've got your FPS operations. You're going to be able to take these down into instance areas. There are some areas that they're adding the municipal works and a deep underground area under Area 18 that you'll be able to do. They've also got a couple different harvesting areas that are going to require large groups of people and heavy firepower to take them out. The sandworm is something that's been mentioned. And all this is going to be dynamic content. So they've renamed the Quanta system. That's going to be called Star Sim now. And that kind of tracks player activity. It tracks where some resources have been discovered, tracks where bases are being set up, and that kind of thing. And so when they start to see large amounts of materials being transferred from one place to the other, or something interesting pops up, you might have NPC pirates come and start, attacking that convoy line, or you might see, other miners come in and go, okay, we've discovered this resource pocket, let's get in on that and be able to extract some value from that. So all of this is going to take place in 5 systems. They're starting out, as I said, with Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, Castra, and Terra. Those are your 5 systems. Castra, Terra, and Stanton are going to be lawful systems. Pyro and Nyx are your unlawful systems. And those are going to operate a little bit differently. Inside your lawful systems, you're going to have your Comare sectors. And so if you're flying around and you get jumped by a bunch of pirates, you hold out for a little while and you're going to have reinforcements come in. You're going to have NPCs to come in and help support you, hopefully take out those pirates. If those ones are not able to, to give them the boot, you're going to have more of them, and you're going to have these NPC response in higher and higher and more difficult waves to kick out those pirates until you just get overwhelming force, to clear off the bad guys inside these lawful sectors. Of course, the bad guys are still going to be able to take down the comrades, so that they can do their sneaky and nefarious business without getting that response. But those sectors are going to be marked on your map, so you'll have a little bit of an advance warning. Hey, the comrade is down here. You don't want to fly in there. Some naughty business could be going on in there. Okay, so speaking of piracy, all of your things, your ships and your high value items, those are going to be assigned to you when you purchase them, when you create them, that kind of stuff. Those are going to be marked to you, which means if someone else takes them and you haven't given permission to them, those will be marked as stolen. And your ships and other high value vehicles, ground vehicles, that kind of stuff, those are going to be implemented with a dead man switch, which means after a certain amount of time, those ships will become inoperable. The pirates won't just be able to drive them around for as long as they want. There's going to be that dead man switch that shuts them off and makes them inoperable. So for the pirates, of course, it's like, all right, so we've got this ship, we've only got it for a limited amount of time. What sort of recourse do we have? So we can take these ships back and we can salvage them, strip them, break them all apart. We can do that right where we capture them. Or we can take them and drag them back to our fabrication hangar and take that ship apart. We can take the components out of it and reuse them. Or if we have enough reputation with the council, the criminal faction, the criminal guild, we can pay for a new title deed and essentially, deactivate that dead man switch and make that ship ours. However, there's going to be some caveats to that. If you're flying around in a lawful system and you've got a stolen pirate ship, you're going to have to figure out a way to get that out of the system, because any major points of interest, any planetary systems, any LEO stations, anything like that, anywhere that you land, they're going to scan you, and it's going to show up, oh, we've got a pirate here, bust this guy. So you're going to have to use a transient jump point to get that out to unlawful space. So obviously Pyro is going to have high risk and high reward. The resources there are going to be higher quality, they're going to be higher value, but of course that comes with higher difficulty, higher danger. This is also where bases can be built. You'll be able to build them in lawful space, of course, but the high value resources are going to be in your unlawful system. So player bases that are built there are going to have to be built up. They're going to have to be defended. You're going to be building these bases with walls, with ground-based shields, with anti-aircraft and anti-ground emplacements, turrets, all that kind of stuff. And base raiding is going to be one of those end-game PvP sort of events. They're going to be building that based on combined arms, where you have to go in on the ground and in the air, take down those defenses, punch through the shields, get in and get those ground shields deactivated, and then you can go in, you can raid that base, you can drop a bomb on it, and you can just blow it to smithereens, or you can go in and hack down and hack into the buildings, freight elevators, and take all that stuff away from the players who had the base. So a little bit of interesting stuff going on with that. Then you've got station warfare. Now they've said that shield resources are limited in unlawful stations. For Pyro, that's handled by a shield network, and because resources are limited, you're going to have to battle for the ability to have shields around your bases and around stations. So you can jump in and you can battle for your org now to capture these resources, the shield tokens essentially. The orgs that have the most shield tokens at the end of a week will be automatically given shield protection that will make those bases invulnerable. That's per week. So it resets at the end of the week, and it gives you that opportunity to fight again for more resources. It gives you the opportunity to a little bit of cycling. Perhaps another org might upstart, kick those the one org out, get more shield tech points, and be able to take those out, and then make a raid on that other base. So you've always got that area that you can just jump in and get into combat now. And so this leads into the really interesting part, and the part that I'm really most excited for, and that is, well, we won't spoil it. We'll go ahead and watch the video here. You can tell that Ian Leyland here was a little bit nervous. You've got his some heavy breathing going in the background there. I think it's probably excitement more than nerves. And yeah, I was watching this and just going, oh my goodness, this is really going to be amazing. So they are adding player-owned and player-controlled space stations to the verse. These things are going to be massive. They're going to be expensive. They're going to be player-constructed and player-owned. Really looking forward to seeing this actually implemented in the verse. They had just about half of the panel that was covering this, and I'm really excited to get into these and kind of see what these look like when they do fully come online. It has so much stuff in there. They've got fully walkways in there, they've got hangars, they've got engineering, they've got storage stuff. It's just, there's a lot to cover here. Okay, so the player space stations, those are intended to be the home among the stars. They are very, very late game or end game stuff. They're intended to be for, large orgs, and are only going to be the ones capable of building this kind of stuff. They're going to be massive amounts of resources required to actually craft these things. And all of that process begins with the supply bay. This can only be crafted by a Pioneer, the Consolidated Outland Pioneer, which is the massive crafting and base building ship. And it's going to have to be supplied with materials over time. You're going to need to top that up constantly, so you're going to need a good network of players to keep supplying this thing with resources. Once the space station's completed, this supply bay integrates with the space station and allows it to bring things into the space station. You've then got the space station bridge, which is kind of located right at the top of it. You've got access to your controls there. You can see power, you can see water, you can see your resources, you can set permissions there, whether you're going to have that tiered based on your org standing or whether you're going to have that open to the public. You can access logs there and see what's been going on your station, what people have been doing, what sort of events have happened, all that kind of stuff. That's all going to be done from the bridge. Then underneath the bridge, you've got your central transit system. That's kind of like a tubular spine that runs down through the center of your space station, and that's got access to your various different interior levels of the space station. So you've got your observation deck that kind of runs around the top inside the station, and allows you to access your various different exteriors and also to see outside of this observation deck. And this thing is a one-to-one with the interior and the exterior of your station. There's no more magic elevators to get around. You can walk through a bulkhead and go directly out to the exterior, not exterior, but the outer portion of your space station. It's not get in an elevator and get whisked off and turn 360 degrees. The bottom of your space station is going to be your engineering section. It's got all of your power supply, all of your water, all of your everything, your habitation, your life support, all that kind of stuff is going to be done down in the engineering deck at the base of your space station. Then you've got your hangar deck. That's one step up from engineering, and that's where you've got all of your hangars. You've got one large hangar that's already pre-built into the station, and then you've got space for 2 more medium hangars. And those are going to be set up so that you've got fully traversable and fully drivable walkways and roadways in between each of those different hangars to make it easy to, get around inside of your station. Then up from there, you've got your habitation areas essentially, and inside each of those you've got various different bulkhead connectors. You can add interior rooms on there, you can add habitation modules, you can add storage modules, you can add interior shops, they've said. These are going to be bigger than the base ones. You can, put all sorts of stuff there. Then on the exterior of the space station, you've got these attachment points. These are, you've got 2 different types of attachment points. You've got minor hard points and you've got major hard points. The minor hard points are for stuff like gun emplacements, gas harvesters, shield generators, radar scanning, all that kind of thing. Those will all go on your minor hard points. Then you've got your major hard points, and those allow you to tack on extra modules onto the exterior of your station. So these are things like the cargo wing, where you'll be able to store a whole bunch of cargo, landing pads, all that kind of stuff. Then you've got your refinery wing, where you can do refining. Other players can come up, land, and do their refining on your space station if you allow them to do that. You could potentially purchase something from the station and then refine it right there on the station if you're not part of the station, so to speak. Then you've got your hangar wing, where they've got plenty of extra space for storing your different ships, incoming and outgoing traffic, all that kind of stuff. All of these wings are going to be connected via struts. Those struts are going to be drivable, so no more magic elevators. Again, you're going to be able to drive those things with ground vehicles, with tanks, with basically anything that's small enough to fit through those corridors. You can drive that from your hangar all the way back to your central part of the station. These stations are also going to be customizable. You're going to be able to tint them in your selected colors. You're also going to be able to add text to the outside of them, to the inside of them. You're going to be able to add your org decals to them. There's a lot of neat stuff that they're going to be adding to this. You've also got a couple of different module attachments. You've got a crow's nest at the top of it. You've also got a flight deck down at the bottom of it. There's some videos over here. And those are going to be basically where you are able to launch fighters for response. Out of the bottom of it for quick loading and unloading, that kind of stuff. Station events, that's all going to take place in the flight deck. Now, of course, with all this big, beautiful space station and all of these resources that you've acquired, you're going to have to deal with jealous other players. And this is going to really be the end game, will be station assaults. You're going to have to defend or assault different stations. This is going to be combined arms. You're going to have big ships coming in to try and wear down the shields. You're going to have smaller ships trying to take down fighters and station defenses. The stations are going to be really, really tanky, so you're going to have to break into the stations. You're going to have to infiltrate them, hack in through an airlock or something like that, and then go in and assault the station on foot. You may be able to bring up some smaller ground vehicles and have those driving in through the the different station areas, in through those struts or something. And all of that's going to allow players to have that station combat and that PvP experience. You're going to have station defenses inside them as well. You're going to have turrets that can pop out. You're going to have all sorts of different things interior to the station to kind of hold up your assaulters and provide an opportunity for the legal owners of the space station to provide that defense and kick out the invaders. Now that was the PvP section. They kind of held the best for last, and that was the reality that we have dry docks, and we're going to be able to go ahead and build large ships. And you kind of wonder, how big are these ships that we're going to be able to build? Let's go ahead and take a look. So as you can see, we are going to be able to build capital class ships. This is, that's a Bengal sitting down there. So we're going to be able to build very, very large vehicles there, up to and including the biggest ones that we can build. That's a Bengal right there. So yeah, there's a lot here, a lot to unpack, a lot to look forward to. Now that kind of wraps up the presentation. They did talk about the community and basically how they're going to allow all types of players. You're going to have your PvE, your non-combat, and your PvP players will all be able to coexist in this sort of universe because they are all contributing. They're all working together to provide this community that Star Citizen is. You've got your PvE players that are, obtaining blueprints. They're knocking out those NPC bad guys. They're, gathering resources from these more dangerous places. You've got your non-combat players, and they're just the ones going out there and doing salvage. They're mining all these resources that you're going to need for building your space stations, that kind of stuff. Then you've got your PvP players, and they're the ones doing the station defense. They're the ones that are going down and raiding those bases to get the rare resources that the other orgs have gathered together in one handy spot. And so they're building this game to be for all players from all persuasions, so that everyone can take part and enjoy Star Citizen in the way they enjoy playing. So I'm really, really looking forward to 1.0 and its release. Obviously, we're still several years out, I believe, at this point. I don't think we'll see Star Citizen 1.0 until, oh goodness, after Squadron 42 releases, which they're talking about 2026 for that. I don't really think that we're going to realistically see 1.0 until potentially 2030. So we've got a long haul ahead of us. There's going to be a lot of gameplay that's implemented before then. They're going to be bringing those systems in online before then. Obviously, we've got Pyro coming out here, hopefully in the next couple months before the end of this year. Nick should be hopefully the year after that, 2025. They've made some good progress on that. The demos that they were showing were that Levski and Delamar had a bunch of work done to them. Then we should start seeing, Castra and Terra after that. But I don't realistically see 1.0 coming within the next 2 to 3 years. There's a lot of work to be done to implement all of these things. But for myself, I'm going to be sticking around. I'm really, really excited, and I can't wait to see all of this that Star Citizen offers. If you've enjoyed this video, found it useful, informative, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. And stay tuned for more videos. These ones take a lot of work, so I won't be turning them out as frequently as I do my other content. But I am going to go ahead and try and do one for at least each of the panels that were presented at CitizenCon. And yeah, really looking forward to see where all of this goes and where Star Citizen is gonna end up, and when we start to see all of this stuff pop into the verse. So thank you all for watching. Take care, and I will see you all next time. Ta-ta.